Okay, so get this. You're on Mars, yeah. Just picturing yourself rolling through this crazy red desert landscape, and then bam, you hit a rock that looks straight out of like an art exhibit or something, not your typical Mars rock. And like everyone's freaking out about this thing online, and for good reason. This is Freya Castle, the black and white striped rock that's got scientists geeking out. We're going deep today, folks, digging into the latest NASA findings, science journals, all that good stuff, all fresh from September 2024 to figure out why everyone's so hyped about this rock. So let's bring in our expert to break down what makes Freya Castle the rock star of Mars right now. What are we actually looking at in these images? I mean, really?
It's wild, right? What grabs you about Freya Castle is how much it clashes with what we expect Mars to look like.
Mhm.
Instead of those same old rusty colors, this rock is all stark black and white stripes.
Yep.
Yeah, stripes. It's about 8 inches across, so not huge, but you can't miss it in the photos.
So it's like finding, I don't know, a zebra hanging out in the Sahara Desert, totally out of place.
Exactly. That's what makes you stop and go, hold on, how did that get there?
And it gets even more interesting when you consider where Perseverance, our rover buddy, found this thing. This isn't just anywhere on Mars, it's in Jezero Crater. And that place is already packed with clues about, whether Mars had water way back when. What's the big deal about finding Freya Castle in that location specifically?
Well, Jezero Crater is kind of like a time capsule for us sciencey types. I mean, we've got solid evidence that it used to be this massive lake, maybe even with a river delta flowing into it, billions of years ago. So to find something as weird as Freya Castle in a place that might have been swimming with water, well, let's just say it's got us pretty pumped.
So it's like finding a message in a bottle, but the bottle is a zebra-striped rock.
But here's the thing, Freya Castle, it's like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit with the rest of the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Totally. It doesn't seem to match the other rocks around it, so some of us are thinking maybe it's a foreign object, like it probably rolled down from higher up on the Jezero Crater rim.
Oh, interesting. So Perseverance could be on the trail of a whole bunch more of these zebra rocks. Okay, now we're talking. What could those rocks tell us? I mean, if we found a bunch of them, we're talking about a rock that looks like it's got its own custom paint job here. So how did Freya Castle get those stripes? What are we thinking? That is the million-dollar question, right? Here on Earth, we usually see that black and white banding really defined in rocks that formed through a couple of main ways. Igneous and metamorphic, and this is where it gets cool. Igneous rocks, those come from, well, fire. They form when molten rock, think lava or magma, cools down and hardens. Like, picture those crazy volcanic landscapes, you
Oh,
know?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so igneous rocks, they're like the drama queens of the geology world.
Totally.
Okay, got it. So then metamorphic rocks, those sound kind of different.
Yeah, so metamorphic rocks, those are the real shapeshifters of the rock world. They start as one kind of rock, could even be igneous actually, and then they get totally transformed by like crazy heat and pressure deep underground. Like, imagine taking a hunk of clay and just squishing and baking it into something completely new.
Right, so we're talking about processes that have been shaping our own planet forever, basically. But finding evidence of that same stuff on Mars, that's got to be huge. What would it mean if Freya Castle came from one of those processes?
It would be a game changer for sure. Let's say Freya Castle is igneous, okay? Those stripes could tell us a ton about how it formed, like what it was going through. Different minerals, they crystallize at different temps as molten rock cools. So those stripes, it could be like a visual record of temperature changes over time, almost like, I don't know, a thermometer from billions of years ago, but made of rock.
Whoa, that's wild. Okay, but what if Freya Castle is a metamorphic rock? What would that tell us?
Well, then we'd be talking about a super dynamic period in Mars's history. Think massive pressure from tectonic plates smashing together, generating insane heat, enough to completely morph existing rocks and maybe even create those bands we're seeing. It would mean that Mars wasn't always this, like, dead and cold place. It was active, maybe even more than we thought.
Okay, so we got two possible origin stories here, and both of them could really change how we see Mars. Now, you've been looking at all the research on this, right? Do any of the papers you read lean one way or the other?
Uh, it's tough to say for sure right now, and that's part of what's so awesome about this.
Yeah.
But there was one thing I saw. They were saying that roughly 1 billion years ago, Mars was like volcano central. Eruptions everywhere, lava flows, the whole bit. So picturing Freya Castle as something from that time, not a huge stretch, really.
Wow, a younger, fiery Mars. That's quite the visual. Make you wonder if Freya Castle saw all the action, right? But we got to keep those metamorphic possibilities in mind, too.
Hmm.
Is there anything about Jezero Crater that makes a more, I don't know, tectonically active past seem more likely?
Well, Jezero Crater's got its secrets, that's for sure. Remember those clay deposits Perseverance found a while back?
Yeah, yeah.
Those are a big deal, right? Strong hint of water in the past. And guess what? Clay minerals, they can form through this thing called hydrothermal activity, and that can be tied to volcanoes and tectonic shifts. So
So both of our origin stories still work.
it's true. And that's what's so cool, right? The more we learn, the more we're like, wait, what?
For real. It's like one of those mysteries that just gets more interesting the deeper you go.
Exactly. Every new piece of data adds to the bigger picture of Mars. And this isn't just about one rock, even a cool one like Freya Castle. This is about like understanding the whole history of a planet, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe even answering that big question. Was there ever life on Mars?
Because on Mars with volcanoes, maybe even with those tectonic plates moving around,
Yeah.
that sounds like a planet where life could have had a chance, right?
Think about it. Volcanoes, they spit out gases that make up a planet's atmosphere, right? And they can even create little pockets with the right stuff for, I don't know, microbial life to pop up. And tectonic activity, that can cycle nutrients and minerals around, which is like essential for life as we know it.
So Freya Castle, zebra stripes and all, could hold clues about, like, the possibility of life way back on Mars. That is mind-blowing.
And get this. Remember how we talked about Freya Castle maybe rolling downhill from somewhere? Well, Perseverance is actually climbing right now, going higher up that Jezero Crater rim.
So it's possible, just maybe, that Perseverance could find more of these zebra rocks. Like, a whole bunch of them. Maybe even where Freya Castle broke off from.
Yeah. Just picture it, finding a whole formation of these zebra-striped rocks. We could figure out what they're made of, how they're arranged, what other rocks they're near. It'd be like opening a whole new chapter in Mars's story.
That's incredible. It feels like we're right on the edge of some massive discovery here. I mean, think about it, everybody. This crazy rock, maybe part of a formation we've never seen before, tells us Mars was way more active than we thought. And right now, as we speak, Perseverance is out there, maybe about to blow this whole thing wide open. So here's something to think about. If you could get Perseverance to beam back just one more piece of info about Freya Castle, what would it be? What mysteries are keeping you up at night? Keep those brains buzzing, because the Freya Castle saga, it ain't over yet. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everybody, and until next time, keep exploring.